Hello my dear students, I'm Miss Batul Masood. Today our lesson is Properties Matter. We're going to learn how to separate mixtures using their properties. Before we start, let's revise what we've learned. We learned about the physical change. In a physical change, the kind of matter stays the same. So a physical change is a change in matter in which the kind of matter stays the same. Matter has physical properties such as color, size, shape, and mass. A physical change is a change in a physical property. A mixture is two or more substances that are combined without changing any of them. So to make a mixture, you mix things together. Because no new matter is formed, making a mixture is a physical change. A solution is a mixture in which all substances are evenly mixed. To make a solution, you completely mix or dissolve one substance in another. Physical changes. A physical change is a change to matter in which some properties of the material change, but the identity of the matter does not. That's why melting, evaporation, condensation, and freezing are physical changes, because we change the properties, but the identity of the matter does not change. We have two types of physical changes, reversible and irreversible. The reversible, like the melting and evaporation, in a reversible physical change, the original form can be restored. So the melted ice cube can be refrozen by freezing, and it can be melted by melting. So it's reversible. And same goes to the evaporation and condensation. But the irreversible, it's like the cutting, because the original form cannot be restored. When you cut something, you can't put it back to the way it was. Properties matter because making a mixture is a physical change. You can separate a mixture using the physical properties of its parts. For example, floating is a physical property. You can use it to separate some mixtures. Just add water and scoop off the objects that float. So the floating, it's a physical property. If you have a mixture of things that float and other that sink, you can only put water on this mixture and scoop off the objects that float. That's how you separate this mixture, by using a physical property, which is the floating. For example, the fruit salad, you can use the property of color to separate this mixture by picking up the different colors and put them in groups. Now, what about sand with gravels and sand with iron filings and salt water? How do you think we can separate them? We can't pick up the sand and the gravels because they are so small particles. Let's watch this video to show how are we going to separate the first mixture. This tool is called a sieve. So we're using sieve to separate the sand from the gravels. We can't use sieve to separate the sand with iron filings because both of them can pass through the holes of the sieve. So we have to find another way to separate iron with the sand. Let's watch this video to find out how we're going to separate this mixture. In this experiment, they're going to mix iron filings with sand. This is a magnet, So they are using a magnet to separate the sand from the iron filings. Now, to separate the last mixture that we have, it's a solution of water and salt. We can't use the sieve, and we can't use a magnet. Let's watch this video to know how we're going to separate this solution. He's putting the salt water to make the water evaporate. So what's gonna happen to the salt? What do you think? If the water evaporate, now after the water evaporate, the salt is left behind. So here's the salt. Can you see it? Here's the salt. Here's the salt. So, evaporation can separate mixtures. As the liquid evaporates, the solids are left behind. You can also use tools such as sieves and magnets to separate mixtures. Matter that is smaller than the holes in a sieve passes through the sieve, and matter that is larger than the holes stays on the top of the sieve. That's how we separate mixtures with different sizes. And the last way, it's a magnet. A magnet picks up matter that contains iron. Now please open your science book, the physical science book, page 384. Please write the date at the top of both pages, 384, 385.
Properties matter. You can separate a mixture using its properties. Blueberries remain blueberries when you put them in a salad. Sugar is still sugar when you stir it into tea. Each kind of matter keeps its identity. Because making a mixture is a physical change, you can separate a mixture using the physical properties of its parts. The firefighter's boat and the rescue ring float. Floating is a physical property. You can use it to separate some mixtures. Just add water and scoop off the objects that float. Matter that is smaller than the holes passes through the sieve. Matter that is larger than the holes stays on top. A magnet picks up matter that contains iron. This giant magnet separates iron from plastic and other materials in a junkyard. As the sun heats this saltwater lake, the water evaporates. The salt is left behind. The salt and the water have been separated.
On this page, I want you to highlight the main idea, because making a mixture is a physical change. You can separate a mixture using the physical properties of its parts. The firefighter's bow and the rescue ring float. So floating is a physical property. You can use it to separate some mixtures. Just add water and scoop off the objects that float. On the other page, page 385, matter that is smaller than the holes passes through the sieve. Matter that is larger than the holes stays on top. So this is the second way to separate mixtures. The third way, a magnet picks up matter that contains iron. This giant magnet separates iron from plastic and other materials in a junkyard. So let's highlight a magnet picks up matter that contains iron. As the sun heats this saltwater lake, the water evaporates. So this is the a way to separate mixtures. The salt is left behind. So the water will evaporate and the salt will left behind. When you're done reading and highlighting these 2 pages, please solve this question, take a picture of your answers and send it back to me. So today we've learned about 4 ways to separate mixtures using their physical properties: floating, evaporation, using tools like the sieve and a magnet. That's how we can separate mixtures. It depends on the mixture. Solve the question on page 385. I hope everything was clear and thank you so much.